Echo TV is a co-production of Echo, Minnesota, in collaboration with health, safety, emergency, and civic agencies and partners, and Twin Cities Public Television. Echo provides multicultural programming and services to keep you healthy, safe, engaged, and ready.
Hello and welcome to Echo TV. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald, Executive Director for Echo. Echo stands for Emergency Community Health and Outreach. We provide health, safety, emergency, and civic information in multiple languages. Our program this time is called Fire, Anything But Child's Play. We have some guest experts, but first, watch this.
Children experience fire from an early age, like candles on a birthday cake. They have the power to blow the fire out, while adults cheer and reward them with gifts and treats. Children watch adults using fireplaces, campfires, cooking grills, legal home fireworks, and sometimes smoking. These fires are mostly small and controlled, and are often the basis of happy memories. At first glance, fire seems tame. Children easily blow out birthday candles. Adults struggle to get the barbecue started. Children see adults use or misuse fire, and they notice where the lighters and matches are kept. But fire is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. Fire can double in size in less than 20 seconds. This single match can cause massive destruction. This small lighter can kill more people than a gun. Children learn by imitating adults. The danger comes when they try to imitate adult behavior of using fire on their own. Most of the time, children misuse fire because they have access to tools for starting fires when they are not being supervised. These fires usually happen at home. But they could be prevented by keeping lighters and matches secured and away from children. Home fires are much more dangerous now than ever before because so many things are made with plastics and other materials that burn quickly. Carpeting, furniture, curtains, bedding. The way modern homes are built also makes fires more dangerous due to different materials and methods. Children are naturally curious about fire. It is important that they learn about how fire behaves, how to prevent it, and how to be safe. Children, and their whole families, can learn best from people who know the facts, like fire departments and science teachers. If a child is allowed to use or misuse fire, it can become a very dangerous habit. It might seem like innocent child's play, but it is anything but a game. Those children, their families, their communities, and their firefighters, all of them are in serious danger. Most children who die in fires have started the fires themselves. Children may misuse fire for a number of reasons. They may be simply curious. They may be dealing with some sort of crisis or stress. They may be trying to impress friends. They may enjoy watching the flames. They may even enjoy watching fire destroy stuff, including people's property. Whatever the reason, it might be the child's way of asking for help. It does not mean that they have an incurable disease, and your family should not feel ashamed. Help is available to change this dangerous behavior. Just call 1-800-500-8897. This will get you connected to a local team of professionals who work with kids interested in fire, at little or no cost to you. Parents, teachers, and other adults can watch for the signs of children misusing fire. Look for burnt matches in places where adults did not leave them. Small burn marks in flooring, carpeting, or grass. Char marks on clothing or toys. Empty or charred aerosol cans. Even the smell of fire or gasoline on a child. These signs can help identify children who are misusing fire and change their behavior before someone is injured or killed. Even a small fire that accidentally gets large and destroys property is a serious crime. Arson is the crime of intentionally starting a fire that causes damage, even if the damage wasn't intended. In this country, more than half of the people arrested for arson are children under 18. Children as young as 10 years old can be prosecuted for arson crimes. And if someone is killed in the fire, the law calls it murder. Fire is a fact of human life, useful and enjoyable, but also a dangerous force that must be respected and understood. Your whole family can enjoy learning about fire from science teachers or local fire departments. Calling 1-800-500-8897 will direct you to local professionals who will help. Create and follow strict rules about fire. Keep fire starting tools secured and away from children, and supervise them.
Welcome back. You're watching Echo TV. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. Our program is on fire, anything but child's play. And joining us for some interviews and discussion about this topic, Bob Dahm. He's the Chief Deputy State Fire Marshal for Minnesota. Also, Jennifer Rockhill, who's the Community Justice Program Coordinator of the Youth Services Bureau, and Kathy Osmondson, Deputy State Fire Marshal, Department of Public Safety. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Let's start with you, Bob. Why is this such an important topic, youth fire setting? You don't hear a whole lot about it.
No, you don't, and that's unfortunate. And years ago, we taught our children how to properly use fire. We taught our children respect for fire. We used it for cooking. We used it for heating our homes, wood furnaces, coal furnaces. But today we don't do that anymore. We live in an age of microwave ovens and convection ovens and electric stoves, and our children don't have the same appreciation for fire that they once had because of its use in days gone by. So it's very important that we teach them respect for fire, how to safely use it. Unfortunately, much of what they learn today comes on television and movies, and it's wrong, it's inaccurate, it's dangerous, and so it's important that we take this time to get the message out to parents, to families, and to the children themselves that fire is something to be used wisely and respected.
It's true. You know, the screen time that we have, you can see it on the screen, be it computer or television, but you don't feel it, and you don't always see the outcomes of fire.
No, especially when it's used in advertising modes to generate excitement over something, and it's just a very dangerous image of the use of fire that our children pick up so often.
So the program focus this time is on helping youth understand the dangers of fire, and also helping parents understand what they need to know so that they can convey this information appropriately. So the program is about children who intentionally go out and set fires. How big a problem is it?
It is a big problem, Lillian. A lot of times when a child gets caught starting a fire, they've already set several fires. It's underreported. People don't know there's help available, and people don't understand, like Bob said, the severity of fire. They don't understand that one match or one flick of a lighter can kill more people than a gun can kill, one bullet at a time. Misusing fire can be a crime called arson, and consistently more than 50% of our arson arrests are kids under 18 years old.
That's more than half.
More than half.
Wow. More than half of the children are accused of arson. And it's a problem that develops, obviously, at an early age?
Well, more than half of the arson arrests
Okay.
are kids.
Okay.
Not half of the kids, but more than half of the arson arrests are kids.
Okay.
And there is help available. We can educate them in the proper use of fire. We can educate them in fire science, how it really behaves, rather than on the movies.
And isn't playing with fire, though, just a natural part of growing up?
Well, curiosity is natural, but starting fires is not. Children need to learn how fire behaves. They can learn from firefighters. They can learn from their local fire departments. They can learn from fire setting intervention programs. Fire's not a toy. It's a tool for grown-ups to use.
And parents don't know? Parents can't be the teachers? Or sometimes they don't know?
Sometimes they don't know. They watch the same movies that the kids watch. And fire doesn't behave the way it does on TV. It's fast, it's dark, it's hot, it's dangerous.
And it takes lives and property damage quickly before we know it. What are some of the reasons why children or teenagers even misuse fire?
It's a wide range of reasons. Curiosity is being one of them. They want to know what happens. What happens when I light that match? What happens when I click this lighter? What happens if I burn this toy? What happens if I use an aerosol can? Use some Axe deodorant spray and see what happens with it. And it's when that's being done that we start to run into issues. And I work with those kids more often than I would like to after they've gotten in trouble. I had a group of boys that sprayed Axe on their pants and lit it on fire. And the thought being, well, it'll burn off and then it'll be gone, it'll be fine. But fire is going to continue to look for more sources to burn. Their clothes, their body is a source for the fire to continue. And so they don't realize how unsafe that is and how dangerous it is. And then you've got the other kids that this is how they act out. This is how they deal with problems, disappointment, struggles. We've had a young man who lit some toilet paper on fire and some paper on fire in the shape of a sword and was dancing around his room with it, leaving burn marks in his wake, simply because he couldn't watch what he wanted to on television. Other times, you have kids that are in desperate need of help. Something's going wrong with me, I need people to pay attention to me. And sometimes this becomes an avenue to get the parents to rally around them.
So it isn't, it can then be an attention getter for, and you know, parents are really busy.
Absolutely.
A lot of households, you have single parenting or you both parents are having to work, plus other obligations, just to keep things moving in the family system. And so fire setting in the youth world is becoming a way to, hey, I really need your attention.
Notice me. Be around me. If I get myself in enough trouble, if I do enough damage, you're going to have to be around to deal with me. You know, parents need to be involved in those conversations with their kids. And sadly, it's a way to pull them in.
It's also a way for them to one-up their neighbor, see something on YouTube. I've tried that, look at this. And there's some amazing things out there on the internet.
Yeah.
Can also be an indication of other problems within the home, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be a chance to try and get outside forces involved in their situation and wanting to get law enforcement, fire departments, social services involved because there's other things going on.
And sometimes you need to do something big to get that kind of attention from public resources.
Especially if you're a kid with a limited number of skills to be able to express yourself.
Yeah. There are some positive ways that fire is used in our culture. It has appropriate uses throughout the year. And are these now opportunities for children to learn? And what are some of those appropriate uses?
Certainly, I think they are. But I think that education has to begin with the parents. If the parents don't understand it, they're not going to be able to educate the children. So I think, you know, there's ways, we sit around the campfire roasting marshmallows and roasting hot dogs, and, you know, those are traditional family activities in some cultures. And so there is an opportunity for parents to teach their children how to be safe around fire and how to use it appropriately.
I'm thinking birthday candles, holiday candles.
Sure.
There's funerals and occasions like that where candles may be a part of a religious service.
We start a child's first birthday out with a birthday candle. Cake right in front of their face. This is tame. You can blow this out. You can control this fire. It's surrounded by good memories, people giving them gifts and treats. So some of the fire setting behavior may be going back to that good place in time where they remember that. If they don't have the education to not do that, and if they have access to the fire making tools, the matches, the lighters, the barbecue lighters.
I'm thinking of the 4th of July too. I mean, I'm guilty of being a young person who is going to experiment and tried, you know, until a close call. Now I got the message on the first close call, but others aren't as...
That was your intervention. Our highest month for kids going through the intervention program is July, and that's in nationwide statistics. 4th of July, home fireworks, legal fireworks, hopefully, they're not for kids.
Here's an odd question maybe. Are boys more into fireworks or fire than girls, or is there anything out on that?
In intervention services, significantly more. Almost 95% versus 5%. It's a striking difference. Girls are catching up. They're certainly starting to become more inquisitive. They're trying these things out, but it is dominantly young men.
Okay. How do we teach the proper use of fire then? I mean, how do we do it in these situations?
Eliminate access is a big deal. Not only putting matches and lighters up high, but putting them in a secured location, perhaps a locked cupboard. Adults being responsible with fire themselves. If you use fireworks at home, make sure they're legal fireworks, make sure they're put out properly in water or sand, and just teaching them how to be responsible with fire and bring them to the fire station, or perhaps science teachers could help with the curiosity aspect.
I remember in high school we had an experiment too, where some chemistry experiment and the use of Bunsen burners in the classroom, and accidents do happen. And there was a lesson on that. And I thought to myself, and of course, again, teenage time, what is this for? But in reality, in retrospect, it actually helped us out when we made our own mistakes in the classroom.
Fire science is an important part of the intervention process, of the education process, giving them a realistic idea of what fire is really like.
Some people might think, though, and I can understand this, the fire department might be too busy. Is it really okay to stop by the fire department and consultation?
Sure it is. Sure it is. And the folks there will be happy to spend time with the kids and the parents to teach them about fire and teach them what happens when things burn and what the result of that is.
So what are the signs then when I notice someone, whether it's my child, a neighbor's child, or some young person in my life, when they might be misusing fire? What are the signs?
There are a number of signs. If they smell like an accelerant. We had a child attend an intervention program just because he smelled like gasoline. And interviewing the child, we found out that he brought the gasoline to school, the ignition device to school, and decided to see what would happen. And that was just from the smell.
Show his friends, yeah.
Yep. The other signs can be charring on clothing or toys, burn marks in carpeting or grass, fire tools where adults didn't leave them. Even spent aerosol cans can be an indicator.
Or preoccupation with the subject matter, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. What can parents do to help children who misuse fire?
Communication is kind of key. It's really important that you're talking to your children. It's also important that you're modeling those good behaviors. It's saying to them that, hey, okay, we may use it on birthday cake, but it's one candle, whereas this is a campfire, so that needs to be this far away from it. We don't sit close. We keep our distance. We do things that are protective, and showing them and modeling those good behaviors. It's also reaching out and seeing what's going on. And if you're starting to notice some behavior issues with your child, help them with how to express themselves, educate them on how to do this. We're not born knowing how to manage our emotions. We're not born knowing what to do. And we need people to educate us as children in particular, because they have all of those feelings that an adult has, but no outlet for them.
There is a number, too, that people can call. Somebody
The Youth Fire Setting
might like to call.
Helpline is a perfect place if you need direction to an intervention program, if you need direction to a fire station that would be happy to assist in your education or show you what you need to know. 1-800 500-8897.
Right, I believe we've got that on the screen for folks to see as well. What's involved in a youth fire setting intervention? When I decide there is a problem here or something illegal has happened and my child ends up in an intervention program, what happens?
The first thing is we're going to sit down with the family and talk about what's going on, trying to get a feel for, is this a curiosity situation? Is this a sort of copying something that's going on, a peer sort of get attention type thing, or is it a bigger mental health issue? From there, when we do the actual fire intervention, it's more focused on helping them understand how fire really works, how fire really behaves, how there are different fires. You can't treat every fire the same way, and you have to understand those different pieces. Helping them understand the consequences of those actions, because that's not a typical thing for a youth to do, is think out ahead of what could happen. Now we want to put this in their head so that they have an understanding of what's going to happen. And then focus on, what do you do to be safe? How do you treat this respectfully, and how do you react that way? And then for those youth that we're more concerned about, where there may be some more emotional or mental health issues, we're getting them to a counselor and getting them connected to somebody that can really help that family move forward and do good.
Are parents a part of an intervention process then?
Absolutely. They're crucial. We don't ever want to send a message to a child that a parent isn't party to and part of. We get to meet these children for a small period of time, and we can make an impact, but the true impact is coming from their parents.
Can a judge in a court situation perhaps recommend intervention?
Absolutely. They can order an intervention.
Okay. What happens then with arson? Tell us a little bit about it. It is a crime.
Arson is the crime of intentionally starting a fire that causes damage or injury. If it kills someone, it's murder. The arson laws are typically geared towards adults, so the judges have full say in what they charge the kids with. A lot of times they'll get them into one of our programs as a diversion, or The only thing with that is that it takes a little bit longer to go through the courts than it would to get a child in before they get in trouble with the courts. If a parent sees the signs, call the number and we can assist.
So it's possible to get an intervention program before it runs into a crime?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, of course, yeah, sure. And so how long is an intervention program? Is it customized, or is it a typical stay, is this or that, or?
Different places have different programs. Jen runs a great class that lasts a few hours. Some children need one-on-one attention, and that can last several weeks. Every child is different. Every intervention is also different.
I think that's a lot of that's based on the circumstances that brought the behavior to pass, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've had youth come through who were playing with the axe, and they took our fire class, which is taught by myself and a firefighter in Cottage Grove, and did great. We've had another young man that was upset about the TV program, and he did the class and then also has continued on doing counseling and is still doing counseling because it's an ongoing thing to support him because he's impulsive. And needs extra assistance with that. We had another young man who was consistently getting into trouble from a very early age on, even as young as age 4, he was in trouble with fire, and did some pretty extensive damage into his early mid-teens, and finally was able to push that counseling piece and get him into that mental health because we knew it was necessary. He was working towards a serial arsonist. And that's a serious situation. And instead, we got him into that counseling and found out what he really needed, and helped him turn to his parents and say, I need you to be here.
You mentioned a case as young as 4. Any younger than that?
It happens.
I mean, that's young.
I've seen 2.
Wow, a 2-year-old. Now, you want to believe, and I believe it's an accident for sure, but again, you're looking for a pattern. If you see a pattern, then you know you've got a problem.
And if we get the intervention early, like with the 2-year-old, they have a high success rate, more than 90% success rate if there is intervention, so that they do not continue the behavior and they do not become serial arsonists.
A lot of this really is education. It's seeing the potential damage and loss that can be done. Like you said in the beginning, you don't really see that or comprehend that from screen time on television, movies, or even the computers. What about modern materials? Fire behavior has changed too. I mean, they seem to burn faster. Is that true?
Right, they absolutely do. We fill our homes with petroleum products, which burn faster than the organics, the cottons and the wools, just like you see in the Underwriters Laboratory experiment with the contemporary room and the modern, or the legacy room. Fire behaves a whole lot differently than it did even 20 years ago.
Contemporary meaning today versus the fires of yesterday.
Exactly.
In the legacy video where the fires are actually, they take a little while longer to burn. You're talking about seconds though, right?
Well, it goes to flash over now in about 30 seconds, whereas in the legacy room it was 30 minutes. So the firefighters had a whole lot more time to get in and rescue people, get in and put the fire out. Also the way we build our homes with the light frame construction, the basic construction of the home has more surface area to burn, and it burns faster.
Okay, we have one question left. If you had a parting thought, one message that you could to give others right now about this topic, we'll go around this way in direction if that's okay. What would you want to share with our viewers, Kathy?
I would want to share that there is help available. If your child is lighting fires, there could be many, many reasons. It doesn't mean that your child is bad. It doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. In fact, reaching out for help makes you a great parent.
How about you, Jennifer?
There's support, and it's not something that has to be a one-time thing. There are people that are there, and if you're walking into a situation that is giving you judgment, call. Again, there's another place that can help. Kids are going to make mistakes. And this isn't about holding them to some ridiculously high standard. It's about dealing with real kids and real situations and real families and helping them function and do well and be successful.
Good message. Bob?
I think it's that it crosses all cultures. There is not a particular penchant for any one culture or another to be involved in this problem. So I think we need to make sure that people understand that it is a society-wide event. It's a society-wide problem, and it crosses all particular cultures.
I thank you all so much for joining us on this important topic, youth fire setting today. Thank you very much for joining ECHO. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
We've talked about a lot of things, but we'll try to summarize in some key messages. First off, lighters and matches are tools, not toys. Keep them secure so children can't use them. Secondly, children are naturally curious about fire. Your family can learn more from science teachers and local fire departments. Number 3, if your child has an exceptional interest in fire or wants to start fires, it's time to get some help. And to get that help or to learn more, call 800-500-8897. My thanks again to our guests and to you for watching this important topic. I'm Lillian McDonald, your host for ECHO, Emergency Community Health and Outreach. If you'd like more information on this topic, please visit our website, echominnesota.org.
ECHO TV is a co-production of ECHO Minnesota in collaboration with health, safety, emergency, and civic agencies and partners, and Twin Cities Public Television.